For thousands of years, if not longer, humans have been plotting several constellations across the night sky. Many ancient cultures shared the belief that we came from the stars, and Orion has long been regarded as one of the most significant constellations in the known universe. The ancient Egyptian star cult and faith in the afterlife are not unheard of. But why were they so fascinated with the stars, especially stars from the Orion constellation? And why did the constellation play an important role in the alignment of their man-made spectacles? Today on Crunch, we will try to understand why the Egyptians were so obsessed with the Orion constellation. Gateway to Heaven. The age-old question pops up every time we think of pyramids. Their purpose and origin have provoked centuries of debate. Were they deliberately aligned with Orion's belt? What does this alignment mean? Does it hold the greatest answer in our quest for knowledge? Or could it represent a past glorious civilization that came to Earth from the Orion constellation? It has long been suggested by ancient astronaut theorists that the astronomical arrangement of these edifices is a calling card left behind by extraterrestrials. At the dawn of Egyptian civilization, particularly during the Old Kingdom, the pharaohs of the 4th dynasty built those almost perfect pyramids. The unique design of these pyramids probably had a significant reason, but they never left us any sort of plans or sketches to tell us about their function. It remained a puzzle ever since, until 1963, when an Egyptologist looked to the stars for clues. Alexander Badawi, a pyramid researcher, asked an American astronomer, Virginia Trimble, to analyze the nagging suspicion that the shafts of the Great Pyramid pointed at something in the sky. And after a year of study, the outcome was quite surprising. The southern shaft of the King's Chamber aligned perfectly to the exact degree with Orion, as it would have done during the time of construction about 4,000 years ago. It somehow made sense to say that the Egyptians, who considered Orion to be the resting place of the deceased pharaohs, would have constructed this shaft to enable the soul of the pharaoh to communicate between Earth and heaven. Some years later, a construction engineer turned Egyptologist, Robert Bauval, looked into it once again to see where the Queen's Chamber shaft pointed. After making some calculations, he was astonished. The southern shaft of the Queen's Chamber pointed at Sirius, his consort, Isis. He was amazed by the degree of accuracy. As Bauval became more and more aware of the geometric planning that went into all of this, he wondered, why didn't the pyramids fall in a straight line? Why was the third pyramid much smaller and offset to the left? It was a pitch-dark night in a desert with a few friends, and while admiring the stars, they revealed an extraordinary breakthrough in this research.
And I was in the desert once with a friend of mine in Saudi Arabia, and with all this in my mind, he happened to be a navigator by sheer luck, and he pointed to the stars of Orion and said, we use these stars because they tell us the direction of east. And he said, have a look at them, and there are 3 stars, 2 bright ones and 1 less bright in offset. And that's bang.
In the 1980s, he proposed a theory explaining a possible purpose in the arrangement of the pyramid complex at Giza. The Orion correlation theory was put forward by him, which mentioned Mintaka, the dimmest of the most westerly of the stars making up Orion's belt, was offset slightly from the others. This was replicated in the layout of the 3 main pyramids in the Giza pyramid complex. He published his idea in 1989 in the journal Discussions of Egyptology, Volume 13. Back in time. The ancient Egyptians' mythology of the creation of this world is all very beautiful, describing good and evil and liking the earth with the heavens. But what does it tell us about the pyramids? Were they meant to correspond to the stars in Orion's belt? Bauval suggested that the pyramids are misaligned, and they are misaligned on purpose to form a celestial match. But if we consider the southern corners of the pyramids, they are perfectly aligned along with these corners. Besides, the stars in the night sky of the ancient Egyptians didn't look the same as they do to us today, nor did the pyramids align with Orion's belt back in 2500 BC. We are all familiar with the fact that day and night occur due to Earth's rotation on its polar axis once every 24 hours. But what is less well known is the wobbling of the poles themselves. This phenomenon is known as precession. Although the movement is at a snail's pace, about 1 degree over a human lifetime, it causes a change in the altitude of the stars. The time it takes to return to the exact alignment is 26,000 years. When Bouval tried to match the alignment on his computer with other time periods, the whole arrangement froze at 10,500 BC to get a perfect match. Stories of the stars. According to Adrian Gilbert, when we are looking at the pyramids, we are looking at religious architecture. And to understand them, we need to look at their religious literature, which is the pyramid text. Even though the pyramids of the 4th dynasty were devoid of any information, the pyramids of the 5th dynasty, despite their pitiful state, are a treasure trove of religious writings. These pyramids are at Saqqara, south of the Great Pyramid, near the ancient capital Memphis. The hieroglyphics reflect their belief that the stars were a manifestation of their gods. The pyramid texts found in the Pyramid of Unas, which was the first to contain any formal writing, demonstrated the importance of Osiris as almost an equal to Ra. There were, in fact, spells that had the power to ensure the written sentiment would certainly happen. In ancient Egyptian religion at the time, both gods were believed to play key roles in assessing the afterlife. Ra was the source of life, and Osiris was the force through which the next life would be attained. But how was it connected to Orion? The ancient Egyptians thought the stars in the belt of Orion represented the resting place of the soul of their god Osiris. According to Egyptian mythology, in the very beginning, Atum-Ra, the great sun god, looked down on the earth. He sent one of his grandsons, Osiris, to live among his people and teach them goodness and civilization. Osiris walked the land of Egypt with his consort Isis, and it became a beautiful place. Alas, his brother Seth was jealous of him, and one day he took Osiris's life by smashing Osiris into pieces and scattered them throughout Egypt. Isis burst into tears after losing her beloved husband, and these tears poured into the Nile River, giving rise to its traditional annual floods. Isis managed to recover the pieces, and with the guidance of the god of the dead, the goddess was able to resurrect her love, bringing Osiris back to life. But Osiris would now reign over the world of the dead. Osiris left Isis behind to bore a son, Horus, who would grow up to avenge his father's death. If you recall Seth's betrayal at the coronation of Horus from the 2016 movie Gods of Egypt and the climax where Horus took revenge for his father's death, the plot of the movie doesn't align exactly with the mythology version as it was more dramatic. However, Isis, after the earthly mission was fulfilled, followed Osiris into the sky in the form of the star Sirius. As the Earth revolves around the Sun, the portion of the sky it reveals throughout the year keeps changing. So some constellations like Orion disappeared from the sky for a while. Egyptians considered it dying just to be reborn. Each year the Nile would flood, bringing rich and fertile soil along, coinciding with Orion's reappearance after 70 days. The Egyptians believed it was a blessing from their god himself. Are the Egyptians more ancient than we thought? Or did they have advanced technology to see past star alignments? Or is this all a mere coincidence? Leave us your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching Crunch. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more amazing content.